The Thames, Britain's busiest river.
Right up.
It's working harder for us now than ever before.
On it. Well.
These days, we expect whatever we want, whenever we want it.
When do you stop?
We don't. 24 hours a day.
Zone 19, all okay, out.
So as we sleep, the river grafts through the night to ensure our 24/7 demands are being met.
Put 1,000 revs on, Kev.
Now I'll be uncovering the secrets of the Thames after dark.
Is that water coming up too far?
Discovering jobs that have to be done between dusk and dawn.
Go nice and slow.
He's done 12 to your 4.
Slacking.
Knock them back in. Keep the track together, safe.
Lovely job. All gone.
Jobs that are more extreme.
I'm not afraid, no longer.
And more dangerous.
I'm going to have to step back. I'm going to be walloped by a ton of fish if I don't.
And I'll uncover the nocturnal secrets of this great river.
Look at this. Wow. Scary old river, isn't it?
Oh, it is. She looks nice, doesn't she? But don't ever trust her.
Welcome to the river that never sleeps.
The River Thames runs for 215 miles from source to mouth. Just under 100 miles of that's tidal, meaning it's constantly moving, rising and falling twice each day. I'm on the stretch of the river that flows from Waterloo out to Richmond in West London, an area that makes up a large part of the most westerly reach of the tidal Thames. Here, I'll be meeting workers who must contend with the tide night after night.
I've got to get a move on because I've got a critical night shift to do tonight, actually on the river, and I can't miss the boat.
The firefighting crew of White Watch are starting their 12-hour night shift. If there's an emergency on the Thames, these guys are in the thick of it. If there isn't, they're training for the next one. This is their base, Lambeth Fire Station, the only floating fire station in the UK.
Here we go.
Tonight's main drill is the rescue of a dummy from the river. Filling it with hot water bottles will mimic the temperature of a living body.
What do I do with this?
Up on the bridge, Coxswain Glenn needs to know this river like the back of his hand.
When you get a call from the Coast Guard and they say like a body in the water at Chalkstone's moorings, you've got to know exactly where that is because, you know, it's life critical.
Did you learn what's what on the Thames on the job, or did you have to do some kind of knowledge like the taxi drivers do?
You get your LKE, which is your local knowledge endorsement.
Oh, it really is called the knowledge?
Yeah.
Do you have to keep up on your knowledge? Because the river's changing all the time right now.
Yeah, so you have to do the exam every 5 years.
It's a bitterly cold night, and the dark Thames River is even colder. The fireboat service receives over 100 call-outs a year. Being fully prepared is the difference between life and death, so they're constantly running drills and are ready to deal with anything that comes their way.
So what is it we're going to do with this little chap?
Well, what we're going to do in a minute, we're going to throw him over the side.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be searching for the dummy, using the thermal imaging camera and using spotlights. Going to get a boat hook and then try to get him back on board, okay?
And where do we dump this?
And then we're just going to lift him up.
Yeah.
And put him straight over the side. Not overboard!
The dummy's dropped in a central stretch of the river, popular with party boats. High jinks and alcohol can lead to tragedy here.
How long can you survive in the water?
10, 20 minutes before he'd be in a pretty bad shape.
That's not really very long, is it? He's got to be identified. We've got to go and get him out.
Absolutely.
To mimic real conditions, first we need to move away from the point where we dropped the dummy. The fast-moving tide and vicious currents will displace it, making it more difficult to find. And the night poses its own challenges.
Is it much harder doing this at night than in the daytime?
Yeah, it is, yeah, because you've got a lot more reflection and the light from the buildings on the water as you can see around. And if somebody sometimes can just be floating in the water, you might just see the back of their head. You know, I've had it before.
So you've really done this in real life?
Oh, yeah.
Many times?
I've pulled probably about seven.
Our body's temperature will drop really fast in these freezing waters, so the crew have got a vital piece of kit to help them locate a body quickly.
That's what we've got here.
Yeah.
A little thermal camera, and it will pick up anything that's above the temperature of the water out there. And when it finds something, see the little blue arrow?
Yeah.
It will home in on it.
So can I have it from it?
Anything that's warm will show up white.
There you are.
Also, if you put your finger on that little trigger there and squeeze it,
Yeah.
it's also got a laser. So once you track it,
Yeah.
you can press the laser so the coxswain can see exactly what he's trying to home in on.
With so little time to find someone in the water before it's too late, and the tide and darkness making the search very difficult, technology like this can be life-saving. With the spotlights on and armed with the thermal camera, we start the search. But with the speed the tide's moving, the dummy could be anywhere. Next,
There he is.
Just going under.
I discover the grim reality of a firefighter's job.
Slightly to starboard, Glenn. There's people in the Thames every week. A lot of people that go down don't come straight back up.
It's so scary, isn't it?
And the tidal Thames has more surprises in store.
At certain times of the year, you would be able to walk across the riverbed.
I'm taking part in a search and rescue drill with the fire service. We've thrown a dummy filled with hot water bottles into the tidal Thames, and now we're looking for it using a thermal imaging camera.
Slow down.
Right there.
Oh, I've got him, yeah.
Around 700 people get into life-threatening situations on the Thames each year, sadly resulting in over 30 fatalities. So any technology these firefighters can use really makes a difference.
Cool, the old tide's really whipped him along, isn't it? All about that.
No, it's just going under.
It's caught underneath.
No, that's all.
Slightly to starboard, Glenn.
Have you got him?
Yeah, got
Yep.
it. You out in a minute?
Yeah, I have you. I've got
Okay, you got hold of him?
Yeah, I've got him.
That's him.
Okay.
Pass him to
Have
Martin.
you got him, lads? Way. 1, 2.
The water is really cold at the moment. The thing about cold water shock as well. So when you jump into the water when it's really cold,
Yeah.
you gasp for air. But because you're in the water, so then you'll start drowning basically.
It's so scary, isn't it? And people do muck about. People do just jump in and think they're going to be all right, don't they?
There's people in the Thames every week.
Really?
The currents under there, they're really strong.
A lot of people that go down don't come straight back up.
God, dear, oh dear.
I can't imagine what it must be like going to work each night, knowing that you might have to pull a body from the water. These firefighters see a darker side of the Thames, and I wonder if that affects how they feel about it.
I can never get bored of this view out here, and I prefer it on the Thames at night over daytime.
Why is that?
I think it's just 'cause it's so beautiful, it's just forever changing, and it's just calm. Even though people think it's noisy in London, it's just calm.
I've met a lot of people who have a healthy respect for the Thames, but none so much as these firefighters who have a special kind of reverence for it. As I head home to sleep, the tidal Thames keeps moving, unnoticed by the hustle and bustle of the city that surrounds it. And yet it ebbs and flows in and out over and over, just as surely as night follows day. It's 1 in the morning, and I'm in West London to meet a man who has a crucial but solitary job here on the tidal Thames.
This may just look like a pretty little Victorian footbridge, but it's actually got a vital role on the Thames. It's Richmond Lock and Weir, and there's one bloke, the lock keeper, who does a 12-hour shift here all night on his own. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Nick. Welcome to Richmond Lock and Weir.
Thank you, mate.
Below this footbridge are a lock and 3 gates that actually battle the tide and control the flow of water along the river.
Jay, explain to me why all this is necessary.
So, the main point of the weir gates is to maintain a water level. It's a barrage, it holds the water back. It's like a reverse of the Thames barrier. We're stopping the water going out rather than stopping it from coming in. There's 3 weir gates. We raise and lower them depending on the tides. It's normally around 2 hours either side of high water. So as the tide floods in and the levels marry up, we raise the gates, and then as the tide ebbs out and the level drops, we lower the gates back in.
Why do you need to maintain a regular water level right here?
So if the 3 weir gates weren't here, at low water, at certain times of the year, you would be able to walk across the riverbed. It gets that low.
At a very low tide, not only did a dried up river mean traders couldn't move along the Thames, sewage also washed up on the riverbed at Richmond. The wealthy locals kicked up a stink, and after 30 years of campaigning, this lock and weir were built. They opened in 1894, and since then the water level remains artificially high, always above half tide.
So we've got the harbour service coming down now.
But as boats can't pass under the bridge when the sluice gates are down, a lock was also built.
So if that was my boat, would I have to pay you to come through?
£8. But you get a return for that.
The lock transfers boats from one water level to another.
So obviously we've got to close the gates.
It traps them in a chamber and either floods it with water to raise them, or in this case, drains water out to lower them.
Obviously, 100 years ago, 120 years, this was all done by hand. But we have the luxury of electricity.
I'm glad it's not still done by hand, because if it was, they'd have made me do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Although Jim works alone here for 12 hours each night, he does get one regular visitor.
The little fox, he comes down every night, see him?
Oh, yeah.
It's like a pet fox.
It's got a bad leg, hasn't it?
Yeah.
As lovely as he is, I doubt there's much conversation.
Don't you go off your nut, Jim, being here night after night, all through the night, with nobody else around?
No, I quite enjoy it, actually. I quite like the peace.
Really?
Yeah, it's quite nice. I mean, sometimes it gets lonely.
Jim seems like a sociable guy, so I'm intrigued to know how he came to work here on his own.
What did you do when you left school?
Left school, joined the Royal Marines for about 8 years. Came out of the Royal Marines and became a commercial diver. I worked offshore in the gas and oil industry, and then moved into the entertainment industry, into rigging. Started off in rock and roll, then moved into sort of TV and film and stuff. And then came here about 15 years ago.
It seems like you've had a life that's full of adventure, and then you come to this very quiet, very still job. I'm surprised that it suits your mentality.
It was only a temporary contract for me. It was right for me at the time. I just had my second child and stuff, and I just needed a bit more stability in my life. And then, you know, 15 years later, I'm still here.
You wouldn't necessarily think that night shifts are compatible with family life, but so many times along the river, I've heard this from the people I've met.
So if you look over the edge now, Tony, you see both sides of the gate, the level's exactly the same.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's time to lift.
Jim's here for 12 hours, but the most important part of his role takes just a couple of minutes, 2 hours either side of high tide, when he lifts or drops the sluice gates. It's now 3:15. High tide is at 5:15. Time to work.
So we open up a control panel. I'll turn it on, press the button, and up she comes. So now this one's coming up. It's time to move down to the next one.
Right.
You can press the up button.
This one?
Yep.
There you go.
There you are. Right, do you want to do the last one, Tony?
Is this one here, yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
Get in!
This really is a feat of Victorian engineering. These massive gates are lifted out of the river and hidden away underneath the bridge. These days, it all happens at the touch of a button, but this would have been a manual job originally, not something Jim could have done alone.
How much does that weigh? Well, the gate weighs 32 tonne, and it works on a counterbalance system. Each quarter is an 8-tonne block.
I bet most people in Richmond have no idea that this is going on when they're fast asleep.
You're quite right. I've chatted to people walking across the footbridge. These weir gates go up and down twice a day, every day, for 127 years. Some people have never seen them, lived in Richmond all their life.
It's amazing, isn't it? This is real old 19th century engineering, and it's still going today.
Yeah, it's bomb-proof, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now that arch is open to navigation.
So boats can sail to and fro with impunity.
Exactly.
So what happens now, Jim?
Time to put the kettle on, Tony.
Oh, yeah. This bridge is the perfect example of something that I've only really fully appreciated doing this series.
All along the Thames are these secret after-dark worlds, which have given me a whole new perspective on something I thought I knew so well. Next,
Whoa, I'm on the River Thames.
I experienced the power of the tide firsthand.
Is it my imagination, or are we speeding up a bit?
And I learn about the dangers of working on a tugboat.
Yeah.
Because if the wires part, they'll snake.
So take your arm off.
Yes.
Over the years, I've seen the River Thames in a whole load of different ways and from a host of different angles. So why am I dressed like a Christmas pudding tonight? Because I'm about to see it from the lowest angle yet, and it's -2 degrees. Hi, Harry.
How you doing, Tony? You good?
All right. Am I going in the green one or the
You're
yellow?
in this one, a big boat for you. It's nice and stable,
Yeah.
and we'll get you from here past Tower Bridge. How's that?
I haven't ever been in one of these before.
Don't worry, either have I. We'll work it out.
You liar.
Harry Whelan is far from a novice. He's solo paddled round the British coast and twice round the Irish coast, all in record time. He's got 26 years' experience of paddling the Thames, including running nighttime tours, leading groups up and down the river.
Right. Other way around, Tony.
Do
Otherwise,
these cross over or they just angle like
spin it
this?
around. Otherwise, you get a complimentary wedgie that way.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a cold one tonight.
It is, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Do you normally take tourists out in this kind of weather?
We would, yeah. We run all year round. We work the flood up into West London
Yeah.
and the ebb, the outgoing tide. And tonight we've got an outgoing tide, so that will whoosh us all the way out.
We'll be setting off from Battersea and kayaking almost 7 miles through central London to our end point at Bermondsey.
Oh,
So let's get higher. This jacket is so thick.
you're not getting this off me unless it's with a knife in your hand, mate. Here we go. I'm boiling hot up to here, and then I'm freezing cold around my hand.
You're
Right.
in here. So, step in. That's backwards, but we can work it out. This way.
What, I face this way?
Yeah.
All right. That's my first lesson learned.
Okay, that's good. Nice one.
Whoa, I'm on the River Thames.
So sit up nice and straight.
Yep.
Hands wide on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Just relax. Just float about.
I'm bobbing around like a little cork here. I had thought the tide would be much stronger than this.
It's probably moving quite fast on a tower. Here we're further west, but we are going the other way, Tony.
That's a relief. For a minute there, I thought we were going against the tide.
How did you get started?
I wasn't very academic at school, and I paddled, and then I just kept paddling, and then I did an outdoor course. I always wanted to paddle around Ireland. That was kind of like a burning ambition as a kid.
Yeah.
So when I did finally do it, that was in my 30s, and then I got around Britain, and then I did Ireland again.
What's the bridge that's illuminated?
That's Albert Bridge, the cute bridge. So the top chain on this bridge, see the very top chain?
Yeah.
That was added on with the vertical lines coming down to strengthen the bridge, because the bridge wobbled when it opened.
Oh, really?
It was quite a weak bridge. The pillars in the middle had to go in the 1970s.
I remember they closed it down.
That's right.
For a long time, yeah.
Yeah, and the bridge had excess corrosion, which they attributed also to dogs weeing in the same place on the way to the park.
It must be really hard to be a tour guide on the Thames because everything you come across is so well known.
This is Chelsea Bridge.
But Harry has a wealth of surprising knowledge and he's great at delivering it.
Battersea Power Station, you got lots of new unaffordable housing going up here. Very unaffordable.
It's very bizarre being this low in the water. I've been up and down the river on boats a lot of times, but they've always been about 4 or 5 feet above where I am now.
Well, it's always a first time for everything, isn't it? Yeah, people are really taken away by the fact that they are in the river and they're going with the tide. It can be quite overwhelming because, okay, it's very quiet at the moment, but with traffic and people and bouncing around in the wash of the boats.
Yeah.
Because generally people can be quite nervous, but by the time they get to Westminster, they've had a good 3 miles to get used to how the kayak works. And we're starting to move a bit faster now, yeah? Yeah.
I thought I was finding a second wind.
Ah, you'll be fine.
I suppose that's Victoria, is it?
Yeah, Victoria's on the...
This may sound like a daft question, but why do you do these tours at night?
But at night time, I think the lights of London are a big draw. We get a lot of, believe it or not, we get a lot of serial daters rocking up with their brand new dates, yeah?
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's happened before where the date has walked off because they're expecting a boat trip, but they're not expecting a boat trip in a double kayak.
Oh, you're joking. They
I'm deadly
actually
serious.
walk away?
Yeah. Well, that has happened.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I wish I had more technique.
So the further you keep that paddle away from your body, the easier it is to use. So you bury the blade, nice long pull. One hand's pulling, and the other hand keeps the paddle away from you.
Yeah.
That's better.
Harry keeps giving me these tips, which I kind of remember for about 10 seconds, like keeping my arms straight and keeping the oars away from my body, and it just flipping sitting up straight. But I forget them with just the pressure of doing the rowing.
Left foot, Tony. A bit more left.
Left foot, yeah, all right.
Left toes.
Yeah, left toes.
This is Lambeth Bridge. It's painted red for the House of Lords. Westminster's green for the House of Commons.
It's amazing to see the Houses of Parliament from this level.
And then Big Ben, as we know it, the clock tower, it's no longer vertical, it's leaning slightly. Do you know that story?
No, I didn't know that.
It's shifted slightly. It's a minuscule amount.
I bet they got a bit nervous when they just detected that.
Yeah.
Is it my imagination, or are we speeding up a bit?
Yeah, we're speeding up. As the river narrows, the tide has to accelerate to get through.
Oh, we've been kayaking for 2 hours now, and despite the tide giving me a helping hand, the cold night air has finally got the better of me.
It's well below freezing, and I've lost all the feeling in my hands, and I can't grip the oars at all, well, at least not properly. So Harry suggested that he might tow me the last mile, and I didn't protest. I'm going about 3 times as fast now, and the relief is palpable.
After spending so much time with people battling the tide, it's refreshing to be with Harry, who uses the tide to his advantage.
The globe's lit up beautifully. I wish Shakespeare could have seen it like this. At last, I could see Tower Bridge up ahead. Intense relief. Apparently it's about half a mile downstream of Tower Bridge before we can get out. He's good at this, old Harry, isn't he? Probably a better presenter than me, too.
Fall asleep if you want.
Harry's brought this river and city to life in a way I could never have imagined.
Paddling forward. Nice one. I'll bump you in. Bingo, you're here.
It's been exhilarating, but I'm glad we've reached the end.
You have arrived.
But I'm so flipping cold. I can't even think, let alone articulate my emotions about going down the river. I'll tell you another time, but for the moment I'm going to get in the car, go home, and sink about 1/4 of a bottle of scotch.
Boy, oh boy, I found that really tough. But Harry's so comfortable in this environment on the Thames after dark in the cold. He seemed right at home. After a good day of sleep, I'm following the ebb tide out to East London, where I'll be joining a team who'll bring me on the flood tide back west. In fact, the tides completely dictate the working lives of these guys.
It's 9 o'clock in the evening, I'm in Woolwich, and I'm about to start my night shift on that tug over there.
This is one of the bases for GPS Marine, who've been hauling cargo along the Thames for 50 years, averaging around 1 million tonnes a year. Day and night, a fleet of 13 tugs moves barges of building materials into and waste out of construction sites.
Hi guys. I've only just made it, haven't I?
Good evening. We're just coming away from Woolwich Arsenal. Light tug in for Cremorne Wharf for permission for the barrier, please.
Good evening. Echo spanning, please.
Yeah, Echo spanning.
We off. I've been going back and forth, up and down the Thames night after night, and you would think that it would get a bit monotonous, but it doesn't. Its character seems to change all the time. This looks as though I've never ever seen it before, and I certainly have.
Jamie is the tug's skipper. He and his team live aboard this tug for 5 days at a time. Tonight, he and his 3-man crew must collect a barge at Cremorne Wharf at Chelsea and take it to Thames Wharf in Silvertown.
Is this your usual run, Jamie?
It depends what orders we get from the office. We could be on any job any day, really.
So what about your families?
I've been doing this for nearly 15 years now, so they don't really know any different, to be honest.
So you don't see them sometimes, except at weekends?
Yeah, pretty much.
But you must have time off, you'd go nuts.
Yeah, we have downtime on board. We have to have a minimum of 10 hours.
So where do you sleep?
We've got a cabin downstairs, which is a shared cabin between the 4 of us. This is it, really.
Although they're on a river surrounded by a busy city, their lifestyle is just like sailors at sea, living aboard with the crew, away from friends and families. I'd no idea that this happened here on the Thames, and it makes for a fascinating dynamic.
Do you ever get on each other's nerves?
Well, they may have a different opinion, but I don't think we do. But yeah, we get on pretty well on board.
How long have the 4 of you been together?
About 2 years now on this boat.
That's so funny, isn't it? It sounds like it's a relationship.
Yeah. Well, it really is. I mean, I probably spend more time with these guys than I do with my own family, to be honest. It sort of almost becomes a way of life, really. It's the type of people we are, and we love doing it.
It's just gone 11 p.m, and we're almost at Chelsea, where we'll collect the barge. This job is such a delicate balancing act. Each site's different. Some can only be accessed at high tide, while others can be reached any time. How much weight is in the barge also makes a difference to how long it'll take to float. It's incredibly complex, and Jamie and his crew must be flexible and adapt to the changing conditions.
Right, so we're just arriving at Cremorne now, Tony.
Is that it there, those bright lights?
Yep.
Tonight's job is moving a barge full of dirt, excavated as part of the Thames Tideway project, a new super sewer system for London. The dirt was dug up as part of the tunnelling process and has been loaded onto a barge ready for this team to take away for recycling. This job is time critical, as they need the rising tide to float the barge before they can move it. But any delays and the tide will be too high for the tug to get under London's low bridges, and we'll be stuck here.
Are we ready to go?
No, we're just waiting for the tide to come up a little bit for the barge to float. So while we're waiting, Shannon and Callum are going to start singling the barge up. So if you want to give them a hand.
There you go. Lovely.
It's Callum, Florin and Shannon's job to attach the barge to the tug.
Starboard wire flow.
For this, they use heavy metal wires.
Shall we get in the port one?
Coming around.
Yeah.
Oh. While we wait for the barge to float, Shannon's warning me of the dangers of working with these wires.
That's a big old thing, isn't it?
the wires come in at mid-tug, and just in that area behind the winches is a snapback zone, because if the wires do part, they'll flick back into the tug and snake. Yeah,
so take your arm off?
Yes. Pretty much pretty easy, break your arm easily.
Like a wire through cheese?
Yes.
I'm definitely going to need to keep my wits about me for the next part of this job.
Pull that slack in for me, Tony, please. That's it, keep wrapping that rope round, Tony. And then around the pin. That's it there.
Yeah, I can feel a bit of pull on it now.
Would you like to go out on the barge and help them let go of some of the rope?
Sure.
Lovely.
Now the barge is attached to the tug, we have to remove the ropes that are keeping it moored to the wharf.
Just take the turns off, that's it. Round, round, that's it.
And understanding which ropes are attached where is crucial.
Hey, there we go. Do we do this one now?
No, Tony, because the tug's running ahead on this one. So if we let that one go, the barge will shoot up the berth and
just
into
go
the path.
whoosh.
Just go
so
whoosh.
we leave this one alone.
Yes, we leave that one alone.
I'm glad I checked with you.
As the tide floods in, the heavy barge is beginning to float.
So is the barge totally free from the dockside now?
Yep, that's it. We're completely let go. The
How's all gone, Shan?
You're 5 metres off the piles now, mate.
It's great. I really understand why you continue to enjoy this after all these years.
It gets rather exciting.
Yeah,
it's rather exciting.
This is a relatively small load, just 150 tonnes to be taken away tonight.
And you're free off of the wall.
But on average, GPS Marine will move 4 barge loads a day from here, each carrying around 1,600 tonnes of muck.
Such a big, heavy old thing, but as soon as it's on the water, it comes alive.
I'm back on the tug now before we get underway.
Yeah, coming back now, mate.
Now the floating barge is attached to the front of the tug, we can start to push it to its destination at Thames Wharf.
Why do you shove it and not pull it?
We're a little bit more efficient pushing as opposed to pulling, and it's a lot easier for the crew to get up and to get access to the barge.
It's now almost midnight, and as we got away in good time, there's enough room for us to get under the bridges. But we can't relax yet. The tide's now on the turn and is starting to ebb out. If the water gets too low at Thames Wharf, the barge's final destination, there's a danger that the barge and the tug could get beached. Working with tides is such a skill, and Jamie must have a deep understanding of them to do this job.
Ready when you are, Tony?
Okie dokie.
Up this way.
So what's the
Find
score?
out if your boots are waterproof now.
Thank you.
Up this way, Tony, up this way.
We can't do anything about the tides, but that doesn't mean the crew can stand around with their fingers crossed.
Just give the deck a bit of a scrub.
There's always work to be done. It's the team's last shift of the week.
Watch your feet, lads.
And the tug needs a thorough clean before it's handed over to a new crew.
You're a pretty well-oiled machine, you guys, aren't you? You all know what you're doing, different roles and stuff.
Everyone's got their role to play. If we don't do it together, it don't get done.
The tug's definitely shipshape and tidy, but the tide might be defeating us. It's now 1:30 and we haven't reached Thames Wharf yet.
What's happening now?
So we're just getting to Jetty Roads, where we're going to tie the barge up for the night. Unfortunately, the tides didn't work in our favour, so we couldn't get it to its final destination at Thames Wharf. So another tug's going to come tomorrow, collect the barge from here, and they're going to deliver it for the final part of its journey.
So what is Jetty Roads?
It's just a set of buoys, swing moorings that we use to tie our barges up.
So it's like a barge park, really?
It's almost exactly what it is.
Yes, mate. We've gone back in the 1001.
Widely off the 1001, okay, mate.
That means the crew are back on mooring duty.
They kind of look like they're men on the moon, don't they? It's kind of not real and feels very, very far away. So you're going to set this loose from the barge now?
Yep, so if you want to follow Florin to the winches,
yeah,
and he'll let you release the brakes.
Okay.
We've got the brake first, Tony.
Starboard side, Flo.
Starboard side.
So what do I do now? Put the brake back on? Yeah.
The other way now.
Yeah.
Right there.
Same thing.
With the tug and barge moored, Jamie and his crew can finally go home to their families after a week on board.
Oh, home sweet home. What I find incredible about those blokes is that they're living together, working together, eating together day after day after day, with the rest of civilization about 100 metres in that direction, 100 metres in the other direction. They're like monks in a medieval town, only on the Thames.
Next, I join a night patrol on the railway.
Do you get nervous doing that bit?
Sometimes.
I'm on the stretch of the Thames between central and west London. The people I've met so far on this section of the river all have no choice but to work with the tides. For my last night on this part of the Thames, I'm joining a team who don't have that problem because they work high above the river's swirling waters. This is Hungerford Bridge. It served as a railway bridge since 1864, replacing a suspension footbridge designed by Isambard Kingdom Brunel, which had opened just 19 years earlier. And it's up on this bridge, above the flowing waters of the Thames, that I'll be joining a team of night workers.
My night shift starts really, really late tonight because it's so dangerous, honestly, it really is, that you can't do it in the daytime. You have to wait till the dead of night.
I'm going onto an electrified stretch of railway over Hungerford Bridge to see the vital work that goes on at night.
Passenger numbers have doubled over the last 20 years, but by and large, the rail infrastructure they use is the same as it was before. More and more use means more and more wear and tear, and as the line's being used much more, that means there's less time to get onto the track and do the required repairs.
Network Rail have 50 maintenance and inspection staff working out of their London Bridge depot, looking after a total of around 90 miles of track, and doing so in minute detail. It's midnight, and tonight I'm joining Ron and James on their patrol. But although they need to be done by 3:15, nobody seems in a hurry to start.
So listen, they said to me, you've got to be here by 11 because it's so time dependent. You've got to get in, then you've got to get out again because the track will be closed. Ever since I've got here, all we've done is sit around and drink coffee. Can't we just go now?
Well, you can if you want to get electrocuted. But no, they've got to isolate the track, so they'll be talking to electrical control room. They'll turn the power off, so no hospital visits.
I'll wait.
Yeah, good idea.
Yeah, that's a wise decision.
It's 1 a.m. and suddenly it's all go. We've been given a green light to go onto the track at Charing Cross Station. After a final safety brief.
My name's James Anderson, I'll be your cost for this evening. All roads are blocked to train movements. Watch out for slight hazards while you're out there, slip, trips, falls, underfoot conditions.
Are we ready to go now?
No, I'll jump down first and I'll check, and then once I recheck and confirm, then we can all get on.
The third rail has a current 3 times stronger than we have in our homes and carries 750 volts, more than enough to kill you.
Do you get nervous doing that bit?
Sometimes. I can confirm that's all off.
Right, best part of 2 hours hanging about.
Yep.
Finally, we're ready to go.
We certainly are, yep.
It's 1:30 and we've got to inspect 3 of the 6 lines crossing the Thames in less than 2 hours.
I'd no idea of the complexity, the sheer amount of stuff that there is on and between the rails.
Yeah,
Every step you take, there's something, isn't there?
Safety's the biggest thing.
So what in particular are we looking for right now?
Pretty much we're looking out for derailment hazards, like broken rails, any breaks or cracks. As you can see, this bolt's all loose and needs putting back in. So when I get back to the thing, I'll write that on my report. So that next patrol, get this fixed.
James, you have chalk?
Yeah, I've got chalk.
Why do you need chalk?
Oh, one of the adjustment switches bolts were loose. I just needed to mark it up so it'd be tightened.
So already there have been 2 things that aren't quite right.
Make that 3.
What is it that causes all these little bits to constantly move?
I believe it's probably the vibrations from the train, because we have such a heavy load of trains coming through Charing Cross, which is obviously a busy station.
Ron and James do this patrol every week, which goes to show how quickly faults can develop.
So have you ever come across a broken rail?
Yes, I have. Not long ago, I came across a broken crossing, which will be this. So
Like here?
Where you got the welds here, I found a broken there.
Did they close the bridge?
They had to block one of the lines, and they crossed over to another line further down.
What was that you were walloping away?
It's the key, which keeps all the track together, safe. And obviously, if you've got a loose key, you're going to start having loose rail. So we do our walks, and then when we find them, we knock them back in with a spanner.
I'm struggling to put one foot in front of the other on this uneven track full of obstacles. Not only do Ron and James need to watch their footing, but they're also spotting the tiniest of issues, all in the darkness.
Seems to me, James, that one of the most important parts of this job is concentration.
Oh, it certainly is. You've got to, basically be vigilant. Just blink in your eyes, you could miss a crack, which could lead to fatalities.
Yeah.
So you've definitely got to concentrate a lot on this job.
River's looking pretty wonderful.
Oh, it's definitely beautiful views at night.
Do you ever get a moment on your walks to just stop and stare and appreciate the majesty of all that?
Oh, definitely. Have a little stop and a rest, and you just look out to the views and see the beauty that London has to offer.
It's wonderful.
It's 2:30. This is Waterloo East, and as far as this patrol goes.
Right, back we go. Presumably, I've got to get onto this track now.
Yeah, we'll go on this one, and then we'll walk back along this line.
How long have you been doing this job, Ron?
Altogether 7 years.
What did you do before that?
I worked at the NHS, and I worked part-time on the railroad.
Yeah.
But
because you liked it?
Yes, genuinely liked it. And it worked out in the long run. Here I am.
3:10, and we've made it back to the platform in time.
All done?
All done.
The power can now be turned back on, the signals checked, and the first trains with their passengers can safely cross the Thames at Hungerford Bridge.
How do you feel about doing this job?
Yeah, personally, I love it. You get great satisfaction out of it. Doing what we do here is very critical for keeping the passengers safe, getting from point A to B, which is always nice to know.
Yeah.
So. It's rewarding for me, and every day you learn something, so I enjoy it. It's one of the most rewarding jobs I've ever had.
The work that Ron and James just did will go unnoticed by the morning's commuters, but it's been a privilege for me to see them in action.
There's loads of bridges crisscrossing the Thames, aren't there? And all of them carry huge amounts of freight and traffic and people. And when you're down there, along the side of the Thames, heading this way and that, it never occurs to you that each one of them is really complex and really important. And a bridge like this even has teams of people who every night go back and forwards checking to make sure that the commuters are going to be safe the following day. Well, I'll tell you what, doing that job doesn't half make your feet hurt.
For over a month now, I've been exploring this great river at night.
Keep lowering it, Tony.
Meeting the army of people who work here after dark.
So that's it. Well,
all of them with a unique perspective on the Thames, and all of them contributing to our everyday lives.